I never imagined that I'd end up with someone who weaponized my past against me, but that's exactly what happened with Ryan. What's worse is that, in the beginning, he was the one who said it didn't matter. He acted like he was above it all, until he wasn't. It all started when I met Ryan through mutual friends 3 years ago. We clicked instantly. He was charming, always making me laugh, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like I could really trust someone. We'd both been through rough relationships, and I thought we were on the same page when it came to transparency and honesty. So, I told him everything up front, including a complicated chapter from my past involving an ex, Julian. Julian and I dated during college. It was one of those whirlwind relationships, intense, passionate, and, honestly, a little chaotic. We were on and off for over a year. When things finally ended for good, I was devastated. It took me a long time to heal, and during that time, I leaned heavily on our mutual friend, Claire. She was supportive, always there to listen when I needed to vent. But a few months after my breakup with Julian, Claire started dating him. She never told me. I found out through a mutual friend, and it was crushing. That betrayal destroyed our friendship, and it left me scarred. Claire tried to apologize after a while, but the damage was done. From then on, I was wary of sharing my past with anyone, until Ryan. Ryan assured me that my past wouldn't affect our future. He even said that he admired my honesty and strength. For a while, I believed him. We moved in together after a year, and I thought I had finally found someone who could see me for who I truly was, not for the mistakes I'd made or the people I had left behind. But things began to change, slowly at first. Ryan would occasionally joke about my drama-filled past, but it didn't seem malicious at the time. I brushed it off, thinking he was just being playful. That is, until last month, when it all came crashing down. It was our 2-year anniversary, and I had planned something special. Ryan had been talking about this new smartwatch for months. I saved up to buy it for him, working extra shifts and cutting back on my own spending to make it happen. I wanted this to be a memorable day for him, for us. I even booked a weekend getaway at a cozy cabin in the mountains to celebrate. The night of our anniversary dinner, I was so excited. I handed Ryan the gift, beaming, expecting him to be over the moon. Instead, his reaction was underwhelming. He opened the box, glanced at the watch, and said, "Oh, thanks. Didn't think you'd be able to afford something like this." He laughed, but there was a sharpness in his tone that stung. I tried to shake it off, but it didn't end there. As we sat down to eat, he brought up Claire. "Out of nowhere," he said. "You know, Claire reached out to me the other day. She told me some things about your breakup with Julian. Didn't realize you were such a mess back then." He smirked, as if he had caught me in some lie. I was stunned. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He shrugged, clearly enjoying himself. "You never told me how clingy you were. Claire said you basically stalked Julian after he dumped you. No wonder he went to her." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Claire and I hadn't spoken in years, and now she was resurfacing to ruin yet another relationship. But worse than that, Ryan, the person I trusted the most, was siding with her. The way he looked at me in that moment, like I was some pathetic, broken version of myself, shattered me. I tried to defend myself, explaining that what he heard wasn't true, that Claire had twisted the story to make me look bad. But he wasn't listening. He just waved it off, saying, "It's fine. I'm not judging you for your messed up past. I just didn't realize how crazy things got." I felt a lump forming in my throat, my appetite gone. The man I loved, who I thought accepted me, was throwing my most painful memories in my face like a joke. The romantic weekend I had planned suddenly felt like a cruel joke. I barely spoke for the rest of the dinner. When we got home, I told Ryan I needed space, that I was going to stay with a friend for the night. He didn't try to stop me, didn't even ask if I was okay. I packed a small bag and left without looking back. The next day, I returned the smartwatch. It didn't feel right anymore. What was supposed to be a symbol of love now felt like a reminder of how little Ryan actually respected me. I spent the weekend alone, reflecting on our relationship, and I realized that this wasn't the first time Ryan had belittled me. He'd been subtly chipping away at my self-esteem for months, and I had been too blinded by my feelings to see it. When I got back to the apartment, Ryan acted like nothing had happened. He didn't apologize, didn't ask how I was. Instead, he just said, "So, are we still doing the cabin trip?" That was the moment I knew I had to leave. I looked at him, this person I thought I knew, and I realized that he didn't value me. Not really. I had been open, vulnerable, and he had used that against me. I told him, calmly but firmly, that I was done. He seemed shocked, but not enough to fight for me. He didn't apologize, didn't try to make things right. He just said, "If that's what you want," and that was it. I moved out the following week. It was hard, but also liberating. In the days that followed, I blocked Claire on every platform and cut off contact with Ryan completely. I used the refund from the smartwatch to treat myself to a solo trip to the mountains. No romantic getaway, just me, reclaiming my peace, my time, and my self-worth. Looking back, I'm thankful for the wake-up call. It reminded me that I deserve someone who sees my past as part of what makes me who I am, not as ammunition for cheap insults. It's been a tough lesson, but one I won't forget anytime soon.